Malevolent Ancient Treemen. These are Drika's alternate to the normal Ancient Treemen lords for the Wood Elves, and they are indeed beasts on the battlefield. Most of them out here, and today we've got a video just showcasing the new traits available to the Forest Spirits for the Wood Elves. So that's the Treeman Lords and also the Branch Wraith heroes, or the Malevolent Treemen and the Malevolent Branch Wraiths for Drika's faction. And I also wanted to just show a sort of alternate start for Drika using 4 Lords on Legendary, which is a bit crazy because that requires you to have plus 45% supply lines penalty, so it's very expensive, but it does give you quite a few unique advantages as well. And it's, I mean, maybe it's genius, maybe it's madness, it's probably somewhere in between. It's probably not optimal, but it is somewhat doable, and it is kind of cool. So I'll explain that as well. Okay, so I believe there are 8 different traits that you can get for your Forest Spirits. That's your Ancient Treemen and your Branch Wraiths. I've read somewhere that they're called spites, these particular set of traits. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but if you go into your Recruiter Lord section here, one thing about Drika is she has 3 different types of Treeman Lords, so she can get it's a lot easier for her to pick up all the traits because she's got sort of 6 available at any one time. So I'll quickly just go through them and talk about them quickly. So the first one's Muster of Malevolence. This one gives -5 public order and the ability Muster of Malevolence. This is like a single target damage spell that you can just directly damage an enemy lord. It's quite good for helping to snipe lords. Then you've got Pageant of Strikes. This one is an interesting one. It gives the lord plus 50 damage. But it also gives them this ability that reduces the range and reload skill of any enemies and greatly depletes their ammunition. I haven't really played around with this one, but that's an interesting skill because depleting ammunition moves the enemy closer to getting army losses. So potentially that could be, it's only a single enemy unit that it works on, but still it'd be interesting to see if somebody can figure out a way of exploiting that. Then we got Befuddlements of Mischief. Befuddlements of Mischiefs. This one gives the Lord an extra ambush chance, and it also gives them a sort of Prey of Anathrema or a net skill. It's 100 meter range. The target units cannot move, so it's everything within 30 meters. So that's really powerful. It gives you 3 charges of that on your tree man. Next one we've got is Cluster of Radiance. Now this one gives makes enemies the enemy spells cost 2 more magic winds of magic, which is interesting. But this Cluster of Radiance ability greatly increases power reserves and improved power recharge rate. I've noticed this seems to just really help you be able to cast spells a lot more than usual. So that's really powerful for your whole army, for all of your spellcasters, because you'll have a few. Then we've got these are some of the good stacking AoE buffs. So you got an Annoyance of Netlings. So it first of all it gives enemy armies -10 movement range if they're in the same region as you, which could be interesting on the campaign map. But also it's got this 40 meter AoE, -10% weapon damage, -5 melee attack, -10% armor piercing. And then you also got Murder of Spites, which does AoE damage to combatants within 40 meters. So you can sort of stack both of those up in a pile. That's one of the reasons why having multiple lords is kind of good. You can sort of stack these effects up. Also gives the lord themselves poison attacks and extra weapon strength. Then you've got the Resplendence of Luminescence. This one's interesting as well. It's another one that gives you a buff and an AoE. So it's plus 10%, it's sort of the opposite to the other one, plus 10% weapon damage, plus 5 melee attack, plus 10 armor piercing. So that means sort of in that AoE, all the enemies are getting debuffed, all your units are getting buffed, and you've got the Murder of Spites doing AoE damage to all of the enemies over time. And as the Treemen are very tanky, they're just going to keep doing that damage over time, you know, throughout the whole battle. That's if you blob up the enemy. Yeah, so that's quite powerful. The other part of it is this minus 25% magic resist to local enemy armies. So Dryads actually do magic damage. So that's sort of like essentially, you know, buffing the damage in melee of your malevolent Dryads. I'm not sure if it goes into negative or not. It doesn't display as a debuff on the battlefield or anything. So I assume it's maybe only if the enemy has magic resistance that it gets rid of it. But it'd be really interesting to find out if you can actually buff that into negatives. Possibly something that's really exploitable if you can actually make the enemy go into like minus 75% magic resistance. But yeah, that's not confirmed. I don't think it works that way, but yeah, it hasn't been tested yet. The other one is the Lamentation of Despairs. This one's pretty straightforward. Just gives the Lord or the hero 10% ward save and gives them the Lamentation of Despairs ability, so they can shoot a magic missile basically, which can be quite good if your blob's getting attacked by archers and stuff like that, or to shoot at a fleeing lord. The Treemen are quite tall, so they can shoot over your other units. So this is quite a useful ability. Now, if you're anything like me, you're already thinking about how you can stack all these buffs in a blob. Equip your heroes with a few extra items. Maybe you got Warrior Bane on one of your characters. Maybe you got a Tormentor Sword, Helm of Discord, a few other AoE buffs and debuffs. Obviously, also you can get spell type abilities on your lords as well. So that give them free extra spells that they can cast for no mana cost, and you can kind of stack all these things together. So you can have 4 lords, including Drycha. Drycha's also got her special ability to summon a unit of Dryads up to 60 meters. Later on in her tree, she gets the ability to cast it at an unlimited range. So you can just use that to sort of instantly deactivate archers or artillery. So you're going to have Drycha, 3 lords, and you can quite early you can also get 2 malevolent branch wraiths as well. So you can potentially have 5 of these traits going. I'd probably recommend to go with the AoE ones and also the magic regeneration. So you can just keep pumping out healing spells and sort of AoE damage spells. If you're going to go for a blob type formation, which works quite well with these, Law of Beasts actually can be okay. And also, of course, the Awakening of the Wood does quite good damage against blobs. So you could use Flock of Doom is quite good when you've got a whole stack of multiple combatants. I won't do a whole guide on the 4 lord start for Drycha, but I'll just throw out a few points about why it sort of works, and maybe things that you could use in other campaigns even if you're not doing the 4 lord start. So first thing is that the ancient Treemen lords are really powerful combatants. They have really high auto resolve strength, and they're really good in battle as well. They have magic, they're armored, they do armor piercing damage, they have high health. They're just all around really powerful units. The other thing is that one of the things that gates your progression with Drycha especially is growth. So you don't have a great deal of growth, and also if your public order suffers, you get minuses to growth to that. So you need to build the growth building first, I found, even before you build the money building. And sort of to complement that as well, as you're power leveling up these lords, you can take this growth skill in their tree, Growth of the Forest. At max level, it gives them plus 20 growth per lord. So you're going to have 4 of them, including Dryka. So if you want to put that on all of them, you can potentially have plus 80 growth on these lords. So when you go back to Griffin Wood to defend it against these armies, these quest armies and stuff, you can stay in there a couple of extra turns if you need that growth, just to get yourself over a key point. The other thing about Dryka Start is that you have these 3 settlements quite close together, particularly Mordheim and Essen. They're very close together, so you can actually sack them both in one turn. So, the 4 Lord Start is, may not be optimal, but if you can do it anywhere, this is one of the best places you can do it, because all 4 of these lords are getting like 1 to 2 levels every turn, plus the additional battle loot that you're getting, which counteracts the cost. I usually start out by taking the Wisdom of the Yew technology with Dryka's Free Amber. Gives you poison damage for all your Treekin and Treeman units, and reload reduction for later on when you start using archers. There's honestly a lot of good options in the technology tree, so choose whatever you want. That's just one that I find good for the blob, for just slowing down enemy damage. First turn, I usually use Dryka's special summon Wild Spirits and Beasts to instantly summon 2 Dryads before the first battle with the Skaven. Defeat the Skaven, you can just auto-resolve that battle if you like, and then sack Mordheim. Then I'll recruit an Ancient Treeman Lord on the first turn, and you can start removing some units out of Dryka's army if your costs start going up too high. Also, as you hire your Ancient Treeman, you can give them officers. So this one gives you minus 15 upkeep for Treeman, so you can put your Treeman in that army to save some money. This office gives you minus 25 upkeep for Dryads, so you can put all your Dryads in that army until you sort of phase out Dryads. Another little trick that's kind of interesting that you can do with Wood Elves to help with your healing of the forest is that you can abandon settlements, and also you can raise them. And if you raise the settlement, you'll get 1 healing of your forest for each turn that the raised settlement remains raised, but you also initially get 5 healing towards your forest. So this 13 that I've got here, 10 of those came from raising both of these, Mordheim and Essen, after I'd sacked them for a few turns. And then you can see they've both been occupied. Unfortunately, they've been occupied by factions that aren't my enemy, but quite often the vampire counts will occupy them. So you can basically raise it, get 5 free healing for your forest, and then if it gets occupied, maybe it stays raised and you get a couple of extra healing, and then it gets occupied, you come back, you raise it again, get another free 5 healing. So if you've got a Ruin Dweller nearby that's going to keep reoccupying these things, and you can maybe go in ambush stance so they don't know that you're there, then you can keep raising it, let them reoccupy it, and then just raise it again, so you actually get faster healing than if you actually controlled it yourself. So that's something I'd look at doing when I'm finished sacking these 2 cities, and I'm getting ready to go and sack Naganoth, and then eventually go and take out Bechhafen to eliminate Ostermark. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of some different things you can do with the Wood Elves. If you do sort of go for a start like this, you don't necessarily have to have 4 lords. You could have 2 or 3, or you don't have to use this at all. But hopefully this still gives you an idea of how you can use some of these AOE traits that are really powerful. Maybe only having 1 or 2 of these traits on say 1 Treeman Lord and a couple of Branch Wraiths or something, with a big blob of Treekin or Treemen or even Dryads are really powerful at this stage, especially when Dryka's commanding them. It could be great. After this, you're gonna start running into sort of more armor-piercing missiles probably. So if you do want to still go with your Tree Lord sort of stack of 4 armies, then you're gonna maybe want to get some Hawks or some Wolves to harass some missiles, just to until they can get rid of the infantry blob, to help out with those sort of fights. So yeah, the 4 Lord start on Legendary is probably not going to be the new meta, but I thought I'd just make this quick video to show a few cool points about the new Wood Elves that I thought are quite fun, and maybe you'll find something in there that'll be helpful for your campaigns. That's all I got. Thanks guys.